And we are live. Queuing up the theme song. Let's go. Let's do that again.
Oh, it's time to get real. It's a new experience. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. You got a question for RLN? It's time to get some answers, baby. Now we get real. It's time to get down. Yeah, you're gonna feel good now. Really good.
Let's talking about it. Woo, what a morning. Welcome everyone. Just like a diva, 6 minutes behind schedule. Believe it or not, there was a bird. I thought it was a golf ball. There's a bird that crashed into the window. No excuses. Welcome to Reality Spirituality with your host, Global Happiness Specialist, Rebecca L. Norrington, happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, oracle, mother. Oh, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. I have one. Happy Mother's Day. But most importantly, a student, just ongoing. This is a practice. This is a intention. This is an agenda. This is a goal that is never ending. When I say happiness specialist, let me be really clear. Happiness specialist. Who the hell does she think she is? Happiness. You know, I was at the gym the other day, and someone was walking by, and he was talking to a friend, and he was saying, yes, I was in my happiness bubble. When I say happiness, I'm talking about a personal energy, a personal vibration, a personal energy of contentment that is maintained and sustained regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. This life throws arrows, baseball bats to the back of the head, up and down, challenges, hurdles, roadblocks, you want to name it all, but that's what life is. And I'm not immune to it either. But there is a practice. And the good news is happiness, contentment, inner peace is a practice skill. But it is a practice that isn't valued by the masses. I mean, when I ask people, do they want to be happy? Usually 90%, yeah, I want to be happier. But the work, the practice, scratch the work. The practice is done in the mirror, and there are not a lot of people that are rushing to the mirror to say, what can I do to change? What do I need to practice to maintain and sustain this level of contentment? And let me just share a really quick story. I got a million of them. There is a his name is J.T. Fox, and he's a global inspirational speaker. And I went to one of his free seminars. This was last year, at least 6 months ago. And I asked him, I said, how do you monetize? How do you monetize what the majority of people don't value until it's too late? And you know what he told me? He said, find something else to sell. And this has been my passion, my mission, my purpose on this planet is to share with people which as many as are interested, how to practice, how to stay in this vibrational place of contentment. And it is a practice, and it is possible. And I've been hosting this show over 15 years now. I teach the classes. It's called The Truth About Happiness. I've taught the class in California, in Oregon, and now I'm in Nevada. And it's the same thing. A lot of people sign up, but the work The work is not easy. It is uncomfortable. It is a challenge. And in fact, yours truly, just a couple of weeks ago, went through 3 days, 3 days. Let's see, 24, 24, 3 days of being in, if I was to tell a story, being in a very let's say dark place, but in a place of turmoil, in a place where my mind wouldn't say that it was peaceful. But all of that struggle, all of that, every time I'm talking about myself, growth, challenge from that comes every single time, no exceptions. Another level of understanding, another level of consciousness, another level of peace. I like to say a rainbow. A rainbow is always behind all of that struggle. However, it's not for everyone. It's the practice is not for everyone. However, I'm sharing with as many as are interested what to practice. And in fact, a little small plug here. My latest book, it's called Program for Unhappiness, and it's on Amazon. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors that subtract from happiness, contentment, inner peace. 56 program behaviors. Also in this book is I list 26 behaviors to practice that will add to maintaining and sustaining this level of contentment. I mean, doesn't that sound great? And well, it's impossible to be happy all the time. I've heard it all. I've been cursed at. I've been called every name in the book. I mean, you can't even believe. Oh Lord. But the practice works. The practice works. And before I go on to today's topic, which is the road less traveled, and this practice is 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 not a popular one only because of that. The practice is in the mirror. The place, it comes all the way back to the individual. It comes all the way back to empowering the individual. But it ain't easy. It ain't easy. I want to share this. This is something that I share in the first part of the show, most all shows, and it is a study that was done by a hospice nurse. Her name is Bronnie Ware. You can look it up, Google it. Bronnie, Bronnie, Ware, Ware, or you can just Google the 5 most common regrets of the dying. And this was a study done. Her patients were, on the way out, days to live, weeks to live, months to live. And she asked them, what are your 5 biggest regrets? And these kept coming up. These same regrets kept coming up over and over and over again. And ask yourself if you had a week left to live, would you have any regrets? Legitimate question. If you had a week to live, would you have any regrets? And so she asked her patients, and they came back with these 5. Number 1, I wish I would pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. I'm going to throw in not the life the world expects of me, not the life society expects of me. I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. This program word, successful. Well, what does success mean? And when do you get there? When do you achieve success? When does that happen? I mean, let me throw this out. Michael Jackson, Prince, Anthony Bourdain, Robin Williams, I could go on and on. Whitney Houston, all achieved what the world would label success. But apparently that isn't enough. So this following a passion, finding a passion, it still comes back to the individual. It still comes back to what's going on inside. And however you perceive the world is what's going on inside of you. Okay, I got off topic as usual. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. The first one, I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me or what I expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. I know that's a hard one to hear. I wish I didn't work so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I stayed in touch with my friends. Again, growth means that sometimes things are outgrown, just like when a child is growing up and they outgrow their shoes. So sometimes we just outgrow people. And number 5 is I wish I would have let myself be happier. And that's where I come in. That one of my favorite quotes is from Abraham Hicks, Esther and Abraham Hicks, and it is, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. And that's all I'm sharing here on this show is how to experience a happier, more content journey. And what does that even mean? I was asked a couple of weeks ago, it was a guy that was in the tech space. He says, well, opposite of the spiritual world, as far as the focus. And he said, well, what would you share with me? What would be a top, what would you share with me? And I said, relax on having attachments to an outcome. That's another program, having an attachment to an outcome, having an attachment to a person, having an attachment to a feeling, having an attachment to a preference. All attachments subtract from contentment. That's just one program behavior. And the other what I like to share at the beginning of the show is the challenge comes from believing, thinking that peace is going to be found, analyzing or coming up. Peace is going to be found with the mind. Peace is going to be found using the mind, using the ego. The mind and the ego, that those thoughts and those stories that are never ending, those thoughts and those stories, there is it's just incapable. The mind is incapable of latching onto finding, sustaining peace. I watch my mind all the time, and that's the practice, is to observe the thoughts and to observe the stories and to observe the conclusions and the analysts the theories that the mind. Oh yeah, this is what's going on, and I know for sure. And who is that I anyway? I was talking to someone very close to me, and they were talking about intention and their intention. Well, who is the entity with an intention? And that's why this practice is less traveled. I said the topic of today's show is the road less traveled, and it is a place less traveled, and it's less traveled because it ain't fun. Well, scratch that. What it is, it's a constant. I'm going to use the word grind. It is a constant state of awareness. It is a constant state of consciousness. It is a constant state of being a witness to what the mind and the ego is trying to convince you what is real and what is truth. I'm just saying. Happiness, inner peace, and contentment are all practice skills. And like any other skill, the more you commit to the practice, the better your results. So I'm not saying that I'm not okay. This is my question to my dear audience. This is my question. how important or how much do you value being happy? And again, when I say happiness, it's about maintaining and sustaining an energy of contentment, because the mind, the ego will not take you there, will not leave you there. There will always be something more to achieve, more to accomplish, this more to improve. And the world sells dissatisfaction. This world is about selling, be dissatisfied. Now, listen, I'm not talking about if you want to be play Carnegie Hall or play professional football or basketball. We have the NBA playoffs now. That I'm not talking about that. That takes a lot of practice. It takes endless focus, endless practice, commitment, devotion. And that's what I'm talking, that fervor, that intensity, that focus, that never-ending focus. If that's not a value to you, then it's just not. But I'm here to tell you that this journey, the masses have been lied to. The masses have been programmed to believe once you achieve A, B, C, or D, that's it. But if you even just by your own experiences, even after you've reached your goals or accomplished your goals, whatever they may be, there is still a wanting, desiring more. And that's all I'm saying, is to be conscious and be aware of that entity that always desires more. Because if you're not satisfied in this present moment, if you're not satisfied with you and what you've accomplished or what you've done in the present moment, I promise you, whatever the goals are in the future moment, there will not be any satisfaction there. So the practice is finding a place of contentment in the present moment. And in fact, I just wrote this down this morning. I was listening to one of my favorite teachers. In fact, he's the number one teacher right now that's alive. His name is Mooji, Mooji. And you can find him on YouTube. He has his own channel. And I wrote this down. He says, we, meaning the mind, is making all of this up, all of the conclusions, is this ever empty? This isn't ever empty to me. There's always something going on here. But the idea we have of who we are is suffering from the other ideas about itself. That's really the mind attacking the mind, the ego attacking the ego. I could have done more. It could have been better. All of these being dissatisfied is all the mind attacking, suffering itself. And that's the only way it's going to survive. The mind's only way to survive, the ego's only way to survive, is for me to believe that's who I am, is for me to feed it. Is suffering from its own perceptions and projections, its own stories, its own illusions, its own untruths. So once you practice knowing that all of this shit that's in here is untrue, all of it. And it's coming from a place of wanting identification. And I will be, when the other day I was saying I'm consciously depressed. And then I back it up a little bit. This is a practice. I back it up and say, who's consciously depressed? Who's depressed? Is it who is depressed? And when I use that word, when the ego and the mind uses that word, it's like fishing. Yeah, bite on this. The ego, the mind knows all of your carrots, and my carrots are different than yours, but all of the carrots, all of the things that the mind throws out for me to. And one of them is I discovered another identity. I discovered another human identity, is this being a mother. I say happy Mother's Day, but this being a mother. With being a mother comes expectations. All expectations subtract from happiness. All expectations subtract from peace. This being a mother labeling a mother has expectations on my only child, has expectations of how how my son is supposed to behave, supposed to treat me, how many times he's supposed to call. And I'm here to say that I'm letting go of that mother identity too. When I claim to love someone, scratch that. Yeah, put that back. When when I say I love you, there are no strings attached. There are no obligations. There are no expectations. That's love. This man-made love that, yeah, I love you, but you have to make sure you do this. I love you, but you make sure you behave this way. Well, that's just the human, the human way of loving, and that is always runs out. That way of being and behaving, loving someone in a human way, always runs out. There is always someone. I don't care how close you think you are, and in fact, this one mother that I know, she's deceased now, but she had this claim of loving her children. And guess what happened? One of her children uh, wasn't complying and wasn't behaving in a way that she wanted. And it was probably, I think he was in his 50s, maybe, yeah, 50s. And she disowned him. After all these years of this claim of being this wonderful mother. No, but if you are a child of this person, you had to behave a certain way. You had to call every holiday. You had to be there every Thanksgiving. So, I don't know how I got off on that track. However, let me go back to today's topic, the road less traveled. This practice isn't for everyone. And I've learned that the hard way. There wasn't an easy way to learn that. But this practice is not for everyone. There was a mother in one of my classes, The Truth About Happiness, and she was determined to tell me that, or to stress that worrying about her child meant that she cared. That worrying about a person means that you care. And I'm here to tell you, when you announce it or when you worry, I mean, how does that feel to you? How does it feel to you when somebody worries about you? Does that feel good? And so don't tell me that worrying about someone means that you care. Worrying just means that you know how to worry. Worrying just means you were programmed to worry, and that's what the masses, and nobody wants to hear that. That's why no one wants to scratch that. Not a lot of people want to hear that. Not a lot of people are willing to transcend what the mind believes is the truth to another level. That means shaking everything up. That means taking a deep dive, taking a microscope into the programming. And when I said 56 program behaviors, and there are 3 levels to each section: level 1, level 2, level 3. The third level, let me just throw this out. You're really not going to like this, road less travel. How about practicing being a person that isn't offended or affected or having your feelings hurt by words? Words in itself, words innately are not powerful. I know. The world teaches that words are powerful. Energy is powerful, but words are not powerful without the energy. And so I don't care what I don't care what you call me. You can call me whatever you want to call me. The words, I've gotten to a point in this practice that transcending, it's not personal. Now, I'm not saying that I have it 100%, but I definitely know that that 100% of the time, anything that happens to me, I don't care if it was my twin sister, which I don't have one, or do I? Even that, even that is not personal. What people say, what people do, they are acting out. They are acting out their programming. And then once I practice accepting that these people, when I say these people, I mean everyone, these people are programmed to act and respond, scratch that, to react in a certain way. I'm able to have more compassion. I'm able to say this is the best that they can do, because I'm doing the best I can do. And it's not personal. If I'm having turmoil inside, if I'm experiencing a storm, that's my business. It has nothing to do with anyone else. But it's a practice, a needing to be right. One of my other practices and another program behavior is comparing myself to anyone out there in social media that has more followers or more likes or more subscriptions. It's a practice of letting all of that go. And when I say The Road Less Traveled, that is a book. It was written by, what was it? Is Scott Peck? It's Scott Peck, I believe. I have the book. I just haven't picked it up in a long time. But you can Google it. It's called The Road Less Traveled. And the first sentence in that book is, life is hard. And what a way to start a book. The truth is hard. Scratch that. The truth is uncomfortable to sit with. The truth is uncomfortable to look at. The truth is uncomfortable to embrace, not by all, but when you are committed to and you prioritize and are focused on a personal vibration, a personal level energy of contentment, guess what? The truth is all there is all there can be. And in fact, I interact with a lot of people. And one time my son was asking me, what do I lead with? Lead with making more money, making more leads, no, I lead with, what is the truth about this life? What is the truth about the journey? And the truth is, the truth about this life is, it is temporary. It is an illusion. It is some people say it's a dream. It is something that is transient. It's something that is not lasting. It is an instant. It is an experience. It's an adventure. It's an experience that the universe, that is God, is having through me. When I identify with my mind, when I identify with the person, Rebecca, when I identify with the human, there is a lot of resistance that follows. There is a lot of belief that this shouldn't be happening. I'll just share another personal story. If you've listened to me, in 2018, when my mother died, she gifted the family house to her handyman. 7 years later, I'm still in a legal battle. I got the house back, but now it's an ongoing legal battle 7 years later. Now, what is that supposed to teach me? What is that? What am I supposed to practice with that? Well, guess what? God has, the universe has, source has, the creator has, whatever you want to label the entity that's all powerful, has its own timeline. Has its own timeline. Rebecca has a timeline, but God has another timeline. Guess whose timeline is going to win? And then the practice becomes, is there any contentment? Is it possible to feel contentment and feel at ease and feel balanced and satisfied and vibrate satisfaction and balance and contentment when this is still going on? I remember I was talking to a family member and they told me 7 years. I would have left a long time ago. No, is it possible? Is it possible? Yes, I needed to practice having more patience. And that's not taught. The road less traveled, having patience is not taught. No, this world, I need it happening now. Let's go. And so with that, I mean, the universe just had me with my arm behind my back. When you capture somebody and you put their arm behind your back. Yeah. So I can either go through life having patience with the process. 7 years is a long time. Well, scratch that. It's a long time to Rebecca. It's a long time to the human mind. But in reality, it's perfect timing. And in fact, when a baby is born, or even a little puppy, nobody's saying, "Well, hurry up, baby, start growing, start walking, start feeding yourself. Let's go, start dressing yourself." No, there's a lot of patience with the growth of a baby or a puppy or a kitten. But where is the patience? Where is the patience that the universe has? You know how long it took for this planet to have humans on it? I mean, billions of years. And so this patience is not taught either. And it's not about not acting on inspiration, but it is about practicing patience with the process. And that's a lesson I needed to learn. Damn it. That's something that I needed to practice. And so there are actually I have two legal, believe it or not, two legal separate cases that are still ongoing. And I'm supposed to practice patience with the outcome and not being attached to whatever outcome happens. Quite frankly, I could drop dead before either one of them is resolved. When I say the road less traveled, there is a practically 1 to 2% of the population, 1 to 2%, and it is a road less traveled. It is a road. It is a way of living that is, I'm not going to say isolating, but it's a very unique place to be, and it's not, scratch that. The majority of people are not going to either understand it, and so it is a humbling place to live. The road less traveled. Let me just look at this. I want to ask my dear audience, what are you talking about? What are you discussing? What are you communicating with to other people? Are you, because what I observe is most are talking about yesterday, the past, what was done, not to put any judgment on it, not to put any any judgment. And in fact, one of the practices, here we go. When I say the road less traveled, one of the practices is to live, to vibrate, to be in a place of neutrality. What does that mean? That means whatever experience that happens, whatever the experience it is a neutral place. Can you imagine having that down? This is neutral. This is not good or bad. This is not wanted or unwanted. It just is. That is another practice, road less traveled. Road less traveled to practice living in that state of neutrality. And I have a question. When you are sharing, scratch that. Let me speak for myself. When I am sharing, am I sharing because I want something to change, because I want change, or I want to grow beyond or transcend beyond who I was yesterday, or am I just venting? Or maybe I just don't want change right now. And that's what I'm saying. This place, I don't have time to do too much more than to be aware and to be conscious. It's a 24-hour a day job, and it is a job. Happiness specialist. Hold on a second. When I say happiness is a practice skill, happiness is a state of mind that you were born with before all of the programming. Before all of the programming. And the practice is to get back to that, to live back. I just had to pick that up, to live in that place. I want to share with you, this is something that was in my Instagram feed. And this is another really, really good eye-opening practice. Thoughts about thoughts. The world, I am my thoughts, and my, what is it? Thoughts. Change to positive thoughts. No. There is nothing in this world that can trouble you as much as your own thoughts. Most people believe that suffering comes from the world, from circumstances, from other people, from other forces beyond their control. But look closely, and you're going to find that the storm is not outside. The storm is within. A thought arises, a fleeting whisper in the wind. And what I say is, what I practice is, that I'm the sky. And if I'm the sky, you're the sky. I'm the sky. And the thoughts are just clouds passing by. But the problem comes, the challenge comes, the discontentment comes from identifying with those thoughts. So a thought arises, a fleeting whisper in the wind, but instead of letting it pass, I hold on to it and I analyze it and I turn it on over and over and over, and I listen to it and I process it and I over and over again until one that just becomes a passing thought turns into a raging ocean. And so I'm going to suffer if I grasp onto a thought and I believe and I think that that thought is true and it's valid. And of course, with all this wisdom, yes, of course it's true. That's the reason why the suffering comes, not because of the experience itself, but the way that I'm thinking about reality. When I say reality, not because of the experience. But here's the secret. The same mind that creates the prison also holds the key. And I say that you cannot find peace with this mind. You're not going to be able to find peace, get to peace using the mind. It's like, how do I say? I'm trying to come up with an analogy. It's like washing dishes with a dish rag filled with mud. You're not going to get the dishes clean. Using this mind is not going to get you to peace. Using the mind is never going to bring peace or contentment. And I promise you, even in my book, I talk about how Tom Brady is discontented with 7 Super Bowls. I mean, he's done many interviews, and even the great Michael Jordan, and it was his documentary, The Last Dance. He says it. He is not satisfied with 6 NBA championships. Now, you want to throw in being an athlete and not being satisfied. I'm throwing in programming. The programming, the mind says to be dissatisfied. Well, that's how the great people, the greatness is being dissatisfied with just being mediocre. I'm not talking about athletic abilities. I'm talking about what's here. The programming is to be dissatisfied. The programming is to stay dissatisfied, and the world feeds on your discontentment. You know what else the world feeds on? Selling you a legacy. yeah, my legacy. That's the new sell. Well, there's a lot of sells. They say that sells sex, legacy. What else? Success. Come on. You will be forgotten just like everybody else. And in fact, the essence of who you are and what you accomplish, I mean, it is going to be forgotten. So buying into that, leaving a legacy. Oh, that's the new thing. Leaving a legacy. It's all, who's the author of that concept of leaving a legacy? Letting it go. Either you're identifying with your mind or you're not. So when you observe your thoughts without clinging to them, without feeding them, you'll see that for what they truly are. They're just passing by, this class passed by your awareness. You are not your thoughts. You are the space in which they come and go. And that's from Alan Watts. The truth about thoughts, most people believe that thinking is an active process and they are the ones generating thoughts, controlling them and shaping them. Well, what if I told you that thinking is not something you do? It's something that happens, that your mind is not the speaker, but the receiver. You don't create thoughts, you hear them like waves rolling over on the shore. Thoughts arise, they spontaneously appear, appearing in your awareness without your permission. But here's the secret. The real you is not the one making noise. You are the one listening. This changes everything. Because if you are the listener, not the thinker, then who are you really? You are the one listening. Now, how about living like that? How about practicing living as the witness? Practice living as the observer. How about that? In fact, I'm going to leave this. I'll scratch that. I'm going to end with this. There is a really one of my favorites, video of Moji, M-O-J-I. You can just Google this. It's called, on YouTube, it's called Must Watch Satsang. Must Watch Satsang, spelled Satsang. Must watch Satsang. I will not start with your problem. I will start with you. Must watch that. I will not start with your problem. I will start with you. That's on the Moji channel. And start watching it around 28 minutes in. 28 minutes in. I got to remember to say that. And I'm telling you, it's life-changing. If you're on that journey, you're on that road, if you are wanting, desiring, inspired to walk on that road less traveled. And if you're not, that's okay too. I say we're all avocados. Some of us is just time. Some of us is we're ripe. Some of us it is just next lifetime. Ooh, any questions? I have people in the chat. Any questions? Any comments you want to make? And let me just share this. I've been hosting this show for I think it's over 15 years now. I remember when I started, and there were no one was listening. Maybe one person was listening, and then another week nobody was listening, and then Becca started complaining. The ego started complaining. Universe, nobody's listening. What? Why? And the universe hit me with, "We're listening. Is that enough?" So I'm over the numbers. I'm over the likes. I'm over the. I mean, I know how the world works. I'm 69 years old. I know how the world works. I'm over all of it. And I'm to a point where I'm just sharing with the world what I've learned, and are still learning, and are and still transcending. It's ongoing. And the latest lesson, my latest lesson is to practice living, practice staying, practice maintaining. Practice living, practice maintaining, practice staying in that place that witnesses the witness. And practice knowing who I really am, which is just not this body and the hair and this name and this short time. Yeah, and it's a practice. Ooh-wee. Well, that's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And my website is RebeccaNorrington.com, RebeccaNorrington.com, RebeccaNorrington. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. LinkedIn, my Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. And my YouTube channel is growing. Whoa! I actually have somebody working with me on the YouTube channel. And it's making small little clips, and I really, it's the YouTube channel is doing pretty good. First book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, is on Amazon. That was published in 2014. But my latest book, published in 2024, yay! Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. It's on Amazon. And in fact, I'm going to have an Audible book I'm going to get on that. I've been saying that for a few months now. Oh, I'm just practicing letting go of he should have been done a long time ago. No, it'll be done when it's supposed to be done. Program for Unhappiness. In fact, in my ending, it says Program Unhappiness will be published sometime this year. Well, it's finally here. And in this book, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, it's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I list 56 program behaviors. I'm actually up to 58 now. Program behaviors that subtract from your happiness. And I'm also want to say that this book is very, it is triggering. Your buttons will be pushed. But if you practice being open, and if you really value being more content on the journey, it's a really good book. Until next time, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You are God having a human experience. Your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, and always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself by accepting yourself in every moment. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, global happiness specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. And remember, happiness is a practice skill. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you're going to find. And your experience in every moment reflects on what you practice. Have a conscious week. And it's not about what's out there. It's nothing to do with the world or the state of the world, the perceived state or the judgment. It's all going on inside here. That cue my theme song. Cue up the theme song. One of these days I'll have a nice, scratch that, a studio. T. Surrender Trust is my password. By the way, if you ever find my laptop, Surrender Trust.
Yeah, oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. You got questions for us? They're trying to get some answers, baby. Now we get real. Time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Time to get real.